The Arctic feels like a silent mausoleum where lost ships lie entombed in ice, ancient cities slumber beneath drifting snow, and planes vanish without a trace. For 40 years, Flight N2969, lost on Christmas Eve, 1971, was nothing more than a whispered legend, a ghost story told in hushed tones. No wreckage broke the ice, no panicked calls shattered the silence. Then, in January 2016, a satellite scan picked up a faint glint of metal deep beneath the Alaskan ice. Ice. At first, researchers dared to hope they'd finally uncovered the aircraft, until curious tracks appeared where no human had trod and a pair of glowing eyes watched from the frost. Inside that fuselage was not just a tale of survival, but a mystery that bent the rules of nature itself, rewriting our understanding of what it means to endure and what it means to protect. Jason Gully pressed his forehead against the cold glass of his Anchorage office window, watching snowflakes drift lazily past. At 58, he'd spent over 30 years mapping Alaska's brutal wilderness, but nothing in his career had prepared him for the satellite images spread across his desk. The anomaly detected by military satellites earlier that month looked routine at first glance. Just another bright spot on a frozen expanse. But as he zoomed in, his breath caught. That glint wasn't rock or ice. It was metal. Behind him, his research assistant, Sarah Trier, appeared in the doorway, her calm facade crackling with excitement. "A thermal imaging just came in," she said, her voice trembling slightly. Together, they pored over the data. The outline of a tail fin at a precise 40-degree angle, dimensions matching Flight N2969. Gully's hands shook as he whispered the name into the charged air, Flight N2969, then dialed the National Science Foundation and Wildlife Services. Within days, what had begun as a routine survey transformed into the largest recovery mission Alaska had ever seen. And yet, Gully couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of discovering something far stranger than a crash site. On a bitter morning in late January, Dr. Elaine Nicholson stepped into the packed briefing room, her silver-streaked hair pulled back in a practical braid. At 62, she was a world authority on Alaskan wildlife behavior, especially large predators. The room buzzed with glaciologists, aviation experts, forensic archaeologists, and survival specialists. Gully pointed to a topographical map. The site sits 180 miles northeast of Anchorage. Expect 42 degrees C temperatures and winds up to 18 NS. Nicholson leaned forward, tracing irregular lines on the satellite image. "These patterns aren't normal glacial movement," she murmured. "Oh, when nature strays from its rules, there's a reason." A week later, 84 tons of drills, radar units, mobile labs, and 2 months of supplies rumbled out of Anchorage, led by veteran pilot Tom Harrison, once a boy when N2969 vanished, carrying a childhood memory of his father's anguish. The convoy crawled across the frozen wasteland in early February, steel beasts clawing through drifts. Nicholson rode at the front, her eyes scanning the horizon, absorbing every nuance of the terrain. Then she shouted, "A stop!" Gully slammed on the brakes as she pointed to the snow beneath their tracks. The surface had subtly shifted, a warning read by instincts honed over decades watching predators. A hidden cavity yawned below, wide enough to swallow a vehicle whole. Nicholson's quick eye had saved them all, and that close call only deepened the questions pulsing through Gully's mind. Within 18 hours, the team erected a small city of reinforced tents and mobile labs, barely a kilometre from the wreck. Beneath their feet, a tail fin's tip peeked through the ice like a ship's prow. But it was what they saw next that stole their breath. A large female bobcat, fur thick with frost, prowling alongside 2 nearly grown cubs. Bobcats should be forest cats, not icefield wanderers, yet here they were, tracing deliberate paths around the excavation, their oversized paws avoiding weak ice spots as though mapping safe passages. The team whispered, "Other guides," as the mother circled the camp, her cubs stepping precisely in her tracks. When the engineers finally breached the fuselage, the cabin revealed itself as a frozen time capsule. Seatback magazines lay open, their pages suspended mid-turn. A flight attendant's cart stood in the aisle, coffee cups transformed into slender ice cylinders. On each tray, personal mementos told silent stories. A child's doll with braided yarn hair, a battered wallet bursting with family photographs, letters penned, but never. And she passed that recognition down. Gully nodded, remembering the diary's final words. I'm not afraid anymore. When the end comes, I won't be alone. Won't. Today, a simple plaque stands where ice and snow meet, inscribed. In memory of the 150 souls aboard Flight N2969, December 24, 1971. And in honour of our unexpected guardians. Each day the bobcats make their rounds, silent sentinels whose paws still fall into grooves carved by generations before them. In their watchful gaze, visitors glimpse something timeless. A bond that defies explanation, compassion that knows no species, and a reminder that even in the harshest wilderness, no one is ever truly alone.